Am I the asshole for giving my entire inheritance to a stranger instead of my greedy family? My Aunt Grace was the only truly kind person in my immediate family. When I was growing up, my parents and siblings were always critical and demanding, but Aunt Grace was my haven. She was a quiet, retired librarian, and she always treated me like her own child. 2 years ago, Aunt Grace passed away after a long illness. It was a huge loss. Shortly after, the lawyer called, confirming that I was the sole heir and was set to inherit her entire estate, a tidy sum of $250,000 in cash, and her small house I made the mistake of telling my family. My mother, father, and 2 siblings descended on me immediately like vultures. They insisted that the money was family money and that I, as the youngest, shouldn't be responsible for managing it all. My older brother, Mark, demanded $50,000 immediately to start a failing business. My sister, Sarah, told me the house should be sold and the cash split 4 ways so she could pay off her car loan. They screamed that since Aunt Grace never had kids, it was their birthright. The final straw came when my father told me I was not mature enough to handle the responsibility and offered to become my financial administrator. He wanted me to sign paperwork, giving him control of the money in the house so he could fairly distribute it. Read, keep most of it for himself and his favorites. I was horrified. None of them had visited Aunt Grace once in the last decade, yet they felt entitled to her hard-earned money. I realized the only way to honor her memory was to prevent her money from falling into their greedy hands. I retreated and spent a month reviewing the inheritance laws and the will. I discovered that since Aunt Grace's will left the assets to me directly, and without restriction, I could legally do whatever I wanted with the funds. But then I remembered something Aunt Grace told me on her deathbed. The only person who truly helped me in the end was Nurse Evelyn. Don't forget kindness, darling. Nurse Evelyn was a young, single mother who worked the night shift. She wasn't related to us, but she had provided exceptional care and companionship to Aunt Grace in her final months. She was truly a stranger, but she was devoted. I scheduled a family meeting, telling them I was finally ready to announce the distribution plan. I hired Aunt Grace's lawyer to be present. When everyone was seated, my brother Mark immediately slammed a list of expected payments on the table. I smiled, stood up, and looked at the lawyer. I have made my decision. My father smirked, reaching for the paperwork. I stated clearly, I will not be distributing Aunt Grace's funds among any of you. I am officially transferring the ownership of the entire house and all $250,000 in cash to Nurse Evelyn Garcia, a dedicated caregiver at the hospice where Aunt Grace spent her last days. The room exploded. My mother shrieked, my brother flipped the table, and my father threatened to sue me for emotional damages. The lawyer simply handed them copies of the state law confirming my right to the distribution. I looked at my family, my voice calm. Aunt Grace wanted her money to go to someone with a good heart, not to those who only cared about her bank account. None of you visited her. None of you helped her. Nurse Evelyn did. The money goes to Evelyn. My family has completely disowned me, but the peace is priceless. A few days later, I met Nurse Evelyn. She wept when she realized she could finally pay off her debt and send her son to a good school. She used the money to start a small, non-profit hospice foundation in Aunt Grace's name. The greedy family got nothing but a permanent, bitter grudge. I may be cut off from them, but I honored Aunt Grace's memory, and that's worth more than any inheritance.